Salam, salam. This is Unity. I just woke up, so like I got that face. Anyway, I wanted to do this video about the kidnapper of blackness, Rachel. I can't even pronounce her last name. I'm not gonna try to, but I see a lot of people say, why do we talk about this? Why do we give this lady, I guess, energy? And it's true to a point, but at the same time, when someone is kidnapping our blackness, it shouldn't be spoken about and it shouldn't be celebrated. We as black people have been taken, everything has been taken away from our history, our culture, our country, how we look at God and how we worship God and how we praise God. All that had been sold away from us. So now we have a person that's stealing our blackness and benefiting from it, which our children should benefit from our blackness. And it's interesting to me how a lot of us say, let the lady do what she want to do. You're right, she can do what she want to do, but at the same time, if we was doing this in the 16th, 17th, 18th, 15th, century, we would have been killed for passing this white. We would have been killed, literally killed. And the thing about it is, we live in a society now that, people say, if the man can make himself a woman, why she can't make herself black? The interesting part is there's so many people that's mixed and they choose the sides because of their environment, their experience, and the sister that passed, Tamisha, that did the art. That taught us how to make clothes. She was mixed. Her mom was Mexican and her father was black. She said, I'm mixed, but I'm just mainly black because that's what I know. And even she don't really know nothing of her mom culture because that's the experience. So most people that's mixed, they kind of choose, I'm black. Like Halle Berry has a white mother and she says, I'm black. Because when people perceive her, they see her as black. And when she look in the mirror, she see a black woman. So you have people that do that. But when you have a white woman it's a lot of white people that love black people. And I'm pretty sure the powers that be love us because we built every damn thing in this society to make them comfortable. So, but we have black people that, how you have that white girl that's in your neighborhood and she got black kids and she around black women and they be like, oh, she all right, she black. I think, what the sister name that was on the R&B Divas, Kiki Wyatt. She was saying her mom was white and she'd be like, those niggers, and she was like, you can't say that, mom, because you white, but that's what she was. She was like her aunties, and then she got black. They got black babies. So you always had those people that was in the black community. Eventually people be like, okay, they black. You'll have those, even though they knew they wasn't, but at the same time they had black children and da-da-da. And because of the slave master, what he did when he laid with the black woman, and the black woman had that mulatto term, it wasn't biracial, they called the mulattoes, wasn't multicultural, it was mulattoes or mainly house niggas. When he laid with the black woman, raped the black woman, he would have the mulatto babies, and the mulatto babies would come out, and they didn't. It was a separation there. Even if the Willie Lynch letter, it was real or not, we're not gonna get into that. But the reality of that letter was real, and it was a lot of hate between them because even though they both were slaves, it was like this one got better, quote unquote, opportunities as a slave. It's crazy. Than the other one, but at the end of the day, they still were slaves. You had the light skin in the house, you had the dark skin out in the field. But to be honest, even though people say the light skin slaves, the mulatto slaves had it more easier, no, they had to clean the cracker shit. Excuse my language. They had to clean that. They had to clean and then the terminology of cracker is not really a bad terminology. But I know this is how people say you're saying cracker, that's racist. No, because there was a crack. They put cracks in the backs of black people So we called them the cracker man, the crack maker. So when you say cracker, it wasn't like nigger. It was like, oh, here come the cracker man for the crack some backs in our back. So that's where that name come from. But at the same time, when they had it, the house niggas in a way kind of had it bad off. We all had it bad off. But when you think about it, they had to clean their shit. Excuse my language. They was like in the midst of them, cooking for them. They had to do all this stuff for them. So at the end of the day, when we want to talk about, it's really no separations, light skin, dark skin. We all was dealing with hell when we was dealing with slavery, and we still dealing with slavery to the points, where our babies getting body slammed and all that at a pool party. To most white people, they look at us as the enemy. When we dealing with us in this society, we don't look at white people as the enemy. And that's our problem, because white people in this society has done a lot. And see, it's interesting because a lot of white people, what they do, they be like, it's not that bad. We don't live in that world no more. No, y'all don't. No matter what this white woman did, she would never experience what we experience as black people, because she's not in our skin. You could pretend to be in our skin, but you will never experience what we experience. I done dealt with a lot of racist stuff as a child from white people. I can remember as early as 3rd grade. I could go on that, but I'm not going to go into that. So I done dealt with a lot of things as being a quote-unquote light-skinned black woman, but we're going to crash the light skin off a black woman. So I done dealt with a lot of races against white people, and I'm just 40 years old. And we quote-unquote not living them times. I don't know if the divine wanted me to see the things, but I have dealt with a lot of that. And from white people. Our people, they be like, why your hair that way? Do you got white in your family? I done had all kind of stuff. No, I'll talk about that in another video. So you get stuff like that from our people, but at the same time, our people been taught, it's deeply embedded in us to hate each other. It's deeply embedded in us to hate our hair. And it's interesting about the hair issue with this sister, whatever she was studying as being a professor, she found out jewels, diamonds, and rubies in the history of black people. And she embraced our blackness, which we don't. And then it's interesting how she knew the power of natural hair. Even though she can fake it, she'll never get what we get when we in our natural state, rocking our natural hair. We be more intuitive. We think quicker. And see, the devil, the white man, what he did, he wanted us to get away from our natural hair, because he knew that he knew we was powerful people. And he knew that our skin and our hair was powerful. Everything dealing with us as our lips, our nose. And it's interesting how when you look at pictures and stuff and how they perceived us in cartoons and all that type of stuff, they had us with big lips, they made us look like monkeys, they had all this stuff like that. But then when you look in this society now, white women have been embracing, for a minute, they have been embracing our big lips, our big butts, our skin. I mean, you look at a lot of white women now, and half of them are, you have to look again, be like, dang, is she a sister? So, and then they wanted us to hate that. Like Malcolm said, who told us to hate our hair? Who told us to hate our culture? Who told us to hate that? They wanted us to hate it, and they got to the point that we did hate it. When we say nappy, oh, your hair nappy, girl, you need to go do something with it. It was a bad thing. But they knew the power of just being a black person. They knew the greatness of us. They knew that because they wanted to dominate it and control it, and they wanted to make it little than it is and put us against each other and don't let us read. It's so much that they done to us as a people, and we still, when you study black history and all that, we still searching for our identity. When you got a black woman trying to, a cracker woman, a white woman, whatever you want to call it, trying to steal our identity. So it's nothing light when people say, why we giving her this? No, this lady has kidnapped our culture. We've been kidnapped from our country, our culture, our land, and everything, and she's she's benefiting from it. And no one should benefit from our history but our babies or us. And it's sick, and I don't support it. I don't care about the work that she done for us. If the thing about it, when people say, well, white people done for black people, the ones that, you know, done black people, the thing about it is, when it comes to, when in the beginning you had a lot of white women that was aborting their babies, and abortion became a thing where it started being supported. But then when we have an issue, the reason why I say that, because when it's issues dealing with white people support issues dealing with them. Eventually abortion became a part of us, but at first that was a white woman's thing. That wasn't a black woman's thing. You can look at history. Just the same as you looking at health. Black women didn't get fibroids like they get them now. Just 50, 60 years ago, they was found more in Caucasian women. Now they found in black women because of the stress and things that we dealing with. So you got now white women, when white people have issues and they really truly believe in it, they fight and they get the laws passed and all that. All the racial tension that's going on in this society. If white people really, majority of some white people, which I don't believe it's a majority, but if some white people truly believe that we should be equal, and why they don't fight for us? We don't see them in groves like we see them in groves fighting for abortion and transgender and all that. We don't see them in groves as fighting for the stuff that's going on with black people. We'll see a remnants of them, but we don't, because they happy with living in a certain place and living with it. They don't really care about our issues like that. If you got 100% and you got 5% of white people saying, oh, I support black people and I don't think the police should do this and I don't do that, that's not gonna shake nothing. But if it's white issues dealing with something like the Tea Party or something dealing with them, you're gonna see a whole bunch of them. You're gonna see 85% of them saying we gotta fight this. So I don't want to hear that mess about some white people that support black people. They need to go to their people and tell their people they need to stop. But see, the thing about it is, they really don't need to, because we as a people need to do our own thing, because this system wasn't designed for us to make it. That's just how it goes. So when you see a black person get murdered and by the police, and we feel like it's injustice, you was built to make them comfortable, not to make us comfortable. It's messed up when you see a black boy get killed and no one don't know how he get killed, but he got newspaper in him and no one can tell you how this baby got killed. Or you see a black young man get his neck, his spinal cord, whatever, is popped. No one can tell you exactly what happened to him. And then if these people get off, you gotta realize the system wasn't made to make us comfortable. What I feel like, all that, the way the system and these laws, this stuff need to be burnt and it need to start all over, because we would never be comfortable in this society that has been created by the British, the Europeans. We would never be comfortable. They done took so much from us, hijacked us. They won't give us reparation. They damn sure ain't gonna give us no mule, and damn sure ain't gonna get us no 40 acres. You know, it's just the way it is. And the only way we can change our reality is we change it. We can't sit and wait on no one else. We have to change our reality. You got a white woman that's stealing. She's stealing it because she knows the power of melanin. She knows the power that we have in our natural hair, and we don't. We look at it when the natural hair movement came out. What we did? Oh, you're natural. And I had to realize that when people say that, I'm like, well, I was born this way. I didn't start trying to mess with relaxers till I was like, I had to sneak and do it, because the way I grew up was, you don't do that. You don't put relaxers in your hair. I was like 13 years old when I snuck and put a relaxer in my hair. The older sister put a relaxer in my hair. My daddy was really, really mad. And but then when you dealing with a lot of young sisters today, they had never dealt with their natural hair. To them, it's a whole new thing. That's just like us, when we learn things about our culture and our melanin and the history of our people and how we, built the pyramids and how we was great and all that. It's new to us. It's like, wow, we done this. We thought that we just were slaves, and we come from greatness. And now it's the same as us learning our hair. Like, oh, look what it could do. It could do all this. It's like art. It's beautiful when you look at the pictures of natural hairstyles. It's beautiful. And we just wanted to relax our powers and make it silky and you could see through it and all that. She knew the power in black hair. She knew it. And we looked at it as a fad. And a lot of young sisters, they had never had a relationship with their black hair. They haven't never had a relationship with their black skin like that, because it was told it was ugly, it was this, it was that. So when I had to realize that they was 2 and 3 years old getting just for me perms and relaxers in their head to relax their powers. So they didn't have that relationship with themselves. What we have to do as a people, we have to study ourselves. And we have to study our history. And our history is being black, African, Moor, Hebrew, whatever you feel it is, because it's all our history. It is beautiful. It is dope to be black. And white people know it. We sit amongst each other and we tell each other, oh, you too dark, you too black. You know, I was reading a Sada Shakur book a couple of years ago, which I want to refresh and read that again, when she was saying, when we called each other a bastard, you know, you have kids, you black bastard, you bastard, you'd be like, oh my God. But if you said black, it was like bad. They made it so bad. And that was, you know, like I'm thinking just from, it had to be in the 60s and 70s when that was taught. You know, it was been taught that was bad. But then you had people like James Brown and everybody came and say black is beautiful. And, you know, we starting to love, embrace our heads. You had like the era when people start, you know, the Black Panther movement and all that. We start loving our history and loving ourselves. But then eventually, you know, people had the froze and all that. You know, got a natural. But then it came to, you know, the natural hair community, and then it was more like, if they didn't know the history of our hair and the history of the powers of our locks. I mean, the closest you can get to the history of our locks was Rastafarian and the beautiful. So I remember my mom told me a story about how our hair, you know, they told us that black hair couldn't grow long, and, you know, just a part of our history. She told us of, you know, how we would hide and camouflage with nature, so the white man wouldn't enslave us in parts of Africa, and we would hide. Our hair would look like the trees and the branches, and we would, you know, just be in there. So it's so much beautiful history about our thing. And, you know, for a person to, you know, they study. You know, if you ever look up the Olmecs, the first person that was studying the Olmecs and found out they was African origin was a white man. So you have them that know the culture, the culture and the beauty of blackness, and we don't embrace it. And I'm not saying that because black history is infinite, and the only way that we as a people, we have to dig and search for our culture. And the beautiful part, people that's like Haitian and Dominican, which Dominicans don't want to be called black, not all, but some. Anyone, you know, Puerto Ricans, all of them, they got black, they got African ancestors, and Trinidadians, and, you know, just people that some of them do have their culture besides the Dominicans, but that's another story. A lot of them still have their culture as traditions, as if they get sick, they'll go and, you know, we had it too. We had it more too, like back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, we had a kind of close community. But now it's like, it's so messed up. Your neighbors be like, what's up? Nobody they don't even say what's up. They just, everybody do their own thing. It's not about a village. It's all about me. That's where we at now. So it's just interesting how we quick to say, don't give her energy. No, she need to be called out, because you got to realize, if we was passing back then, we would have been murdered. And it was a book that this sister wrote, and she looked at white, but she was black. I think it's called Color Struck. I seen it on Donahue show, and she was saying back then she did a census of black people, and a lot of them had disappeared because a lot of them had start passing as white, because it was easier for us. It was interesting. It's interesting that she done it. I think she done it because of the power of blackness, and she studied it, and she found out the jewels and diamonds of us. And there's so many jewels and diamonds and rubies of our culture that we don't know. And she embraced that, and we need to do that. So she need to be called out with her white ass. She, you know, and see the thing with her, the way this society, this is a messed up society we live in. This lady done kidnapped our blackness. They'll probably give her a book deal. They'll probably give her, they'll start a whole new thing, a transracial thing. And because you know, it's a lot. It's some black people feel like they white, and some white people feel like they black, and some Puerto Ricans feel like they white. You know, so that'll start a whole new thing, and then she'll do a movie, and then she'll be somewhere. She getting another professor job, and she'll be teaching that, and she'll be okay if nobody don't knock her off, you know. And most of the time it might be her own that do that, her own white people that do that. So she'll be okay. So people like that, they don't deserve to embrace our blackness because the way it was done. And we always been took it from when you looked at white women taking the Victorian style dress and making their booties big, but then you want to put Sandra Bartman on display, like why her booty this way, why her vagina this way, and even in her death you take her vagina and cut it out and put it on display. So you dissect black people because we're so different from them, and people say we're the human race, but culturally we're different. We're different, and it don't matter. You know, Sister Soldier said this one time. She said she done dealt with black people, white people on different levels, and they all treat us the same. You know, so this conversation go really deep, but I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'm gonna do another unity moment talking about race issues, because I do want to talk about the things that I dealt with growing up as a black woman and the races I got from black women. I'm sorry, from white people. I didn't really get, I didn't get the what they call it, colorism. I didn't get as much colorism. I dealt with colorism, but I didn't deal with it as much as I dealt with racist issues and things that was said me from white people. So yeah, so she is a demon, and to me, I really think that if they killed white people for passing back then, she need to be on death row. I truly believe that, because if you taking something from us as a people, you're not my friend, you're my enemy, and that's how I look at it. And she need to be called out. And it's crazy because, like I say, she gonna be okay with our blackness. She ain't my friend. I don't want her in my community. And people got to realize the NAACP was started by white people, so that's not a big surprise that she was over that. Jewish and white people, and they ain't never really benefit us as a people anyway. That's another damn story. After NAACP. All right, so long.